He was swinging and swaying on those still rings as well, a bit like Demas, whom we saw earlier.
Now, Jay doesn't have as long of a body and as big of a swing as you saw from Trent Demas, but he does a good job here on the double whip it because he's very solid. He's strong. And, of course, the combination of double whip it to a cross is definitely a nice series. Here's the bail. 2 flips and 1 twist. Not really high, but he had plenty of rotation to pull it around.
Jay Caputo awaiting his score. Graduated this past spring from high school with a grade point average of 3.5. He wants to own his own business someday. And as has been well documented, you can go well towards having that opportunity with a great gymnastics career. Jay Caputo at only 17 still has that opportunity. Jay's score at 9.25, a cumulative of 18.55. Still quite away from Neil Palmer's score, and that right now is the leading score at 18.70. Here's Chuck Girardo. He took the gold on the pommel horse out of San Diego, California. Chuck qualified with a 9.35. He needs only a 9.25 to take the lead, Bart.
Now, he did a nice mount there, similar to Neil Palmer and David St. Pierre. He did a kip to a straddle plunge, but he pressed up to a handstand out of the plunge. That's a nice combination showing good strength. There's a move you don't see too often anymore. It's a straddle L. It's not that difficult, but it works really, really nice on the rings. Notice the position in his handstand. His arms are locked out. He's twisted the rings out, so he's trying to keep as good a control as he possibly can. There's a layout double. Good job on the landing. That's going to have to score well because it was clean.
He may be our leader. Listen to the crowd. The straddle L. Now, you say it's easy, but yet we haven't seen much of it here, and the crowd really reacted favorably.
You know, in gymnastics, there's certain tricks that are sort of in trend. And the straddle L was used quite a bit a few years ago. Not too many people do it these days. And yet, I don't know why, because it's a really good-looking position when you have nice extension, good toe point. And, of course, he pressed up to handstand. Here's the dismount. It's a laid-out double back. Pretty good form, maybe a little sloppy in the toe point, but let me tell you, it's hard to point your toes when you're worried about 2 flips in the straight position.
Chuck Girardo. With the artwork on the t-shirt and the lead now. Was all he needed to take the lead, and he got a 9.50 for a total of 18.85. That gives him the lead by 15/100ths of a point over Neil Palmer. Now Michael Chaplin from UCLA. He had a 9.55 to qualify. He needs a 9.35 to take the lead.
Mike is definitely our favorite performer here. He's very solid on the rings. He's done well in NCAA and U.S. gymnastics competition. He's really, really strong in the upper body. You can see there he does a front lever. And notice on his kip position, different from Palmer and St. Pierre, he's very tight, very solid, and great strength work pressing to a handstand. There's the whip it, swing to a handstand, good control. So far he is right on. Little bobble in that handstand, that'll be 1/10 of a point, but that's the only deduction so far. Another whip it to a back uprise handstand in the tuck position this time. He's got to control those rings. Layout double and a perfect landing.
He finished with some Bruin pride. For a long time, the champions certainly in the hunt for NCAA titles year after year.
Here's the giant, forward giant swing to a piked whip it to a swing handstand. A really nice combination. Good extension, toe point, nice position in the handstand. Now here's where he follows up with a double whip it in the tuck position and a back upright to handstand. He almost lost it there in that handstand, but he is so strong in the upper body. He was able to control it and bail away for the layout double back.
And he gets a 9.50. Michael Chaplin with that score after qualifying with a 19.55 is in good shape and now has the lead. Michael Chaplin. The dismount and the mount certainly helped him a great deal, and he is our leader. The 19.05 total. Well, he was a little shaky, as you mentioned, at times, but he does have the lead right now on the still rings and does have the gold medal. Chuck Girard vault competition here at the U.S. Olympic Festival. There it is. And it was there that last night little Karen Turney was injured, a small fracture of the first cervical vertebra. Doctors say she'll be all right. She's having to wear that neck collar for about 2 to 6 weeks. But all the folks back in Blue Springs, Mo, take heed. She's all right and will return. And she did, by the way, after receiving that first cervical vertebra crack for the moment, come back and hit the vault for a 9.1. And then doctor said, let's go check it out, and she'll be okay. We begin now with Tim Ryan, who qualified with a 9.30.
Okay, now there is a vault called a handspring front.
Tim Ryan.
Position. That vault is worth a 9.4. All the vaults have a difficulty rating. This competition is a little bit different than the normal finals competition, where you usually see the gymnasts performing in 2 vaults. In this competition, they're just doing 1 vault today. It's competition 1B, or the same as they use in the all-around. Here's the handspring front. Gets his heels up. Pretty nice position off the horse. Really nice position in the air. And he opens up just a hair early because he's trying to stick it. And he did a good job in staying on his feet, because it's easy to sit down on that vault. Coming in forward is a blind landing.
Pretty well-developed youngster for only 16, out of Bartonsville, Pennsylvania, the International Gymnastics School there. Attends Southern Lehigh High in Center Valley, Pennsylvania. He'll graduate from there this coming year. He's got a lot of power, Bart.
And he is very strong. It's unusual to see a gymnast that, at his young age, that is that strong physically.
9.10. You saw his combined. Now Lance Rignall, who has certainly been the young star here in the men's competition. He qualified second. He needs just that 9.10 to take the lead. He qualified with a 9.35 on Thursday night in the all-around.
We mentioned at the top of the show that he's a very strong tumbler and vaulter. Let's see what he can put together today. Oh, nice vault and a right landing.
He told me before we got started today that he was surprised he got the bronze. He's a humble youngster. He's just having a good time. He feels no pressure whatsoever.
And generally, when you find a guy who is a great tumbler, he's also a great vaulter, and you have a terrific combination like Robert Sundstrom here in Lance Rignall. Look at how easily he does this. This vault is very difficult for most gymnasts, and let alone a young 17-year-old gymnast who's doing a Kasamatsu in the sort of a laid-out pike position, and really, it's so easy on the landing. Tough stuff. There he goes, pushing up into the air. Really nice position, and you can see he's looking for the floor, and he takes 1 small hop on the landing. That vault's going to score well.
That wasn't a vault. It was a lesson in aerodynamics. It was incredible how he was able to just push himself up as quickly as he did. And you said he doesn't shy away from any of the degree of difficulty, and he's so young, just 17. The 9.50 gives him the lead, and the lead by a bundle, 18.85, a good 45 hundredths of a point beyond Ryan, who was our first vaulter. Now David St. Pierre, he needs a 9.55 to take the lead. He's had an outstanding day.
He really has, and he's going to do a tucked Cuervo, I believe. That's what he used in the all-around competition. Okay, 1 step on the landing, but this is a very, very difficult vault that he tried.
Handspring with a half twist and a back flip. All of that combined is called a Cuervo.
When you're only doing one vault versus the two, Bart, are you a little more conservative here? Do you hold back maybe a bit?
Well, generally what the gymnasts are doing in order to score well in the finals, we're all looking for that stuck landing. You really have to nail it. They pick the vaults that they have a good shot at nailing, and definitely David St. Pierre has been known to nail this vault. He took a short step on this one, but let's see what happens here. He does a handspring. Now he's going to do a half turn into a backflip, and he looks for the landing. He's really square to the horse. Maybe just a little low in his chest on the landing, but that is a really, really tough vault to do that cleanly in the air.
Art Sherlock, his coach at UCLA, has got to be pleased. He's been doing a lot of waving, giving some AOKs and thumbs up today here in the men's gymnastics individual. He gets a 9.35. His total 18.70. Not enough to get past Rignald, but he does move into second place. Robert Sundstrom qualified first with a vault of 9.55. He needs the 9.35.
Wait till you see this vault. This is outrageous. Handspring, pike through it, and he stuck it. That's what we've been waiting to see.
That should do it.
That's a handspring front with a 1.5 twist, the most difficult vault done in the world today. Robert Sundstrom.
No longer does he think about that floor exercise. He was favored both in the floor exercise and in this event. He certainly nailed this one.
This is one of the most difficult vaults being done in the world today. Handspring, front in the pike position, and watch as he cranks 1.5 twists and looks for the ground. Let me get in before you land on your feet, and of course he stuck the landing. That's going to score big time.
Coached by Sho Fukushima at UC Berkeley. Solid gymnast in almost every respect. He's one of those that could make that push towards 88. Most of these are juniors and even seniors that really realistically have the 90 world championships on their mind, maybe 92. You think ahead that far when you're 15 or 16 years of age, and many of these kids do. But some of them really believe they have a shot of making our national team by the Olympics. And Sundstrom and Palmer are two examples of the consistency that it takes to get there.
And David St. Pierre as well. I think Mike Chaplin, all of those gymnasts are training with their sights set on having a terrific competition at the Olympic trials. There are probably 20 guys who might be able to make that team, but you're not going to edge out Scott Johnson's and Tim Daggett's too easily, let me tell you.
We'll wait for the score. We know it'll be good, and he'll probably be in first on his way to the gold here in the vault. The intense look of Robert Sundstrom, and he got a 9.70 on his vault to take the lead with a cumulative score of 19.25 here in the vault competition. Michael Chaplin is next up from UCLA. Qualified sixth with a 9.25. He needs the perfect 10.
Hey, nice vault. That was a Sukahara full in the laid out position. I think that's the best vault I've seen him do. He handled the landing very well. I don't think that's your perfect 10. I hate running down that vaulting runway knowing that you got to get a 10 just to keep in the running. But I tell you, I think he did that vault as well as he can possibly do it.
Well, it can be a humbling experience also after watching Sundstrom nail his. You realize, hey, I've got to show well whether I get the 10 or not.
Let's see what happens here now. He comes in with good speed, tremendous push off the horse, full turn in the laid out position, and he lands in good position. One big hop on the landing, which will be a 10th or 2 of a deduction, but that is a tough vault. Running down that way knowing that you got to get a 10 just to keep in the running. But I tell you, I think he did that vault as well as he can possibly do it.
Well, it can be a humbling experience also after watching Sundstrom nail his. You realize, hey, I've got to show well whether I get the 10 or not.
Let's see what happens here now. He comes in with good speed, tremendous push off the horse, full turn in the laid out position, and he lands in good position. One big hop on the landing, which will be a 10th or 2 of a deduction, but that is a tough vault.
There he is waiting for his score. His brother Kelly is a gymnast at the University of Arizona. Michael out of Los Angeles and a part of a couples team that's been widely talked about here. Tanya Service who is on the South team for the women, 22 years of age. She and Michael are a bit of an item here and have been talked about. Spent some time together after. Tanya had a difficult time on the parallel bars last night, and he took some time to console her after.